It's your girl, Queen of Coco, back in the social media streets. And child, what I decided to do is start a late night review because I love to watch this before I go to bed. I don't know why, but true crime. And what we're going to be talking about is some of the most trending cases. I watch it before I go to bed. Y'all wind down with me, get into it, get into the discussion, child. What I really wanted to talk about was this man, this family right here. The case is trending now where they found the children, I believe it was 16 kids, in a deplorable conditions in what they're calling the Ohio House of Horrors. So this article is from News Nation. We're gonna go over it to see what the facts of the case are. Girl, I need to move myself over because I want you to see these people. I want you to see the people, child. Um, so what it says, and read along with me because this is an interesting case. It says Siders, his wife Elizabeth Siders, and his parents. So that means the mother and father and the grandparents were all arrested. And I guess it's Gary, Christina, Elizabeth. They were arrested on June 30th. So this recently happened after authorities said 16 children were found living in squalid conditions. This case interested me because I was trying to figure out, well, how did they find out who reported it? But I guess we are going to get to that. But basically, all four adults have waived their preliminary hearings and have pleaded not guilty to the charges against them. Now, the way that they found these children in conditions that weren't so great, I don't know how they pled not guilty. And what I came for the life of me, what made this case interesting to me is how are four adults in the house and none of them have right sense to know that the kids don't need to be living like this. That and then if you in a situation where you don't have a voice at all, you with some folks and you don't have a voice, then how is it that you just stay in that situation? Why wouldn't you, if any of them told the other people that no, this is not right or what have you, why didn't they leave? Or why didn't anybody report it? So to me, it seemed like all of them were on the same page. And when you look at this, child, I don't want to talk about nobody's uh, looks, but something just don't seem right. It just don't seem right, child. Let's scroll up. So I'm guessing right here, this is the grandparents. I mean, it's given if the hills had eyes, honey. What's that movie? I don't know, child, but mm-mm, mm-mm. And then this is the couple, and she's looking like, look at her hair. You could tell it's deplorable conditions. I mean, that's I hate to talk about somebody's hair, but it just looks like I don't know. It's something for me about the eyes on him and on her. You can just tell. Oh, all of them really, child. Look at the mug shots. Look at them. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I just wonder sometimes when you see people like this that's out and they're disheveled, not looking the best, and you see them with a whole bunch of kids, you can't really immediately report them just for how their persons are presenting. But to me, something, I don't know. This is just really bothering me. Anyway, we're gonna move on. So, News Nation affiliates will, they evidently obtained the birth records for four of the 16 rescued children. 16, including the oldest, which was Elizabeth Siders, and what it says as their mother and Gary Jr. as their father. What? No, the oldest, which lists the birth records say that Elizabeth and Gary is the daddy and the mom, basically. But this is very weird. It says cannot definitively comment on the parentage of the remaining children. So if they can't, child, this just gets more and more. bizarre. If they cannot comment on the parentage of the children, is they saying that these is not these people's kids? The rest of the 16, four of them are, but the rest of them are not these people's children. So where did they get the children from? Or were they had like outside the hospital and they weren't accounted for? I don't know. But it says, and Archer said he does not know that we have all of their birth certificates. Child, so it sounded like to me that the kids was had at home, or these is not these people's kids. I guess we're gonna find out. So it says the marriage license shows Siders and Gary Jr. Siders married on March 31st, 2008 in Mason County, West Virginia at the ages of 15 and 18. This might be the problem right here. So they got married as kids at 15 and 18. And then we see the grandparents. Is that the I'm unclear on if that's the mama's parents or if that is his parents. Um, but they got married at 15 and 18. That already sounds like a problem. Although we know back in the day, people used to get married at an early age, but given the situation that's at hand, it seems like that was a problem because it don't seem like they was mature enough to have gotten married and be responsible for a family. Okay, and it says at the time they were living nearby Gallipolis, Ohio, on the same street. Both had completed a ninth grade or lower level of education. Child, they didn't listen to people's education. So they tell you right there they didn't have the wherewithal, not enough probably education on what it takes, to really raise a family. And I think education is key. We need, y'all remember those? Well, that's back in my day, but they used to have those home economic classes that teach you a lot of skills. Even my grandmother made us watch, pregnancy, what it's like to get pregnant, what that means. I'm just saying, I think all of those minimal life skills can help. So anyway, child, that's the end of that article. We gonna move on. That was on News Nation. Man, I was looking for some more. Okay, so as it stands now, according to News Nation, it's 16 kids that were found. Only four of them have, I guess, birth certificates that can be accounted for, and that we know definitively are these people's children, who is Gary Siders and uh, oh, and I didn't skip some parts, honey. I didn't Gary and Elizabeth, I guess, Siders. So the charges, it looks like they were charged with child endangerment after the children were found living in a house of horrors, whatever that means. Um, and it's saying that he was charged in a separate public indecency incidents over a nine. What? Oh, I don't know. It's just interesting to me, and I'm not laughing about the public indecency charge. I'm just taken back at the ridiculousness of the story. So he was charged for four separate public indecency incidents over a 9-day span, just a month prior to his arrest. And this lady who got married to him at 15 was still with him throughout all of that. So to me, that's given that there's definitely not just the house being in deplorable conditions, but there's definitely some more things that were going on. And we're going to find out about it as this case goes on. And I am glad that those children got rescued. I'm still trying to figure out how they got rescued, who finally reported it. But he went on a nasty spree prior to these children being found. It's saying that he was charged with 4 counts of public indecency before authorities raided his home in Hamden, um, a village about 75 miles of Columbus. And these is according to court records. And it's saying that right now we don't have the details of the allegations. Um, but it says I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, but y'all see what it say. He was recklessly exposing himself and had 16 children captive. So it's probably no telling what happened to these kids. And again, when we go up here, see, y'all don't pay attention to how people look, but look at him. Look at those eyes. He just looks. We shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but he just looks depraved to me. And she looks just as depraved and checked out. No self care. And these parents, whose parents are they, child? And that too, I've let them get married at 15 and 18. So I skipped the top part of this article, but that was what we really did need to know. But what I can't understand is it says in Ohio, public indecency is a fourth degree misdemeanor punishable by up to 30 days in jail and a fine of $250 on each count. I swear I feel like there is a secret society of pedos, and all of them. I can't say what I want to happen to them because I don't. I feel like how is this fine only $250 for something like that? That's like going to a restaurant and sitting down and getting something to eat. How is it only $250 and only 30 days in jail for exposing? This is what's wrong with the world. This man needed to be locked up in for some months or some years. I don't care if it's just indecency, because to me that means that you are working your way up to do something else that you don't have no business doing. Ooh. So I'm just saying, y'all, this is terrible, completely terrible. Okay, so we're gonna move on in the story because we got a couple of more articles to explore. We're gonna hop on over here to PBS News and see what they're reporting on the case. And it says 16 children rescued from Ohio home looked almost feral. Feral, child. What is, hold on, what does feral mean? Because when I think of feral, I think like a feral cat or animals and stuff. Let's see. That's what I'm saying, an animal or plant that has escaped domestication. Oh, so I guess it's saying it was wild. We're going to leave it there. Because I don't want to completely read from the screen. But basically, not good. That's what we're going to say. Not good. So it says that 60 children from the same family. Well, we don't know if it was the same family according to News Nation, because we don't even know if all these kids are these people kids, so they don't have no birth certificate. So we don't quite know. But it says that they were rescued from a dilapidated home in rural Ohio, where living in wretched conditions with human waste all around. What's wrong with people? These folks right here. I just gotta keep showing what kind of folks like this. 4 adults with children that are living with feces, and they plead not guilty. There's no way that you cannot not be guilty. And I know it says guilty. I mean, I'm sorry. Well, for me, it seemed like they're guilty. They done found Boo Boo already in the house when they went over there. To me, it seems like they're already guilty. But what they say, innocent until proven guilty. However, PBS is reporting that it was wretched conditions with human waste all around, and the kids were confined to just one room over much of the past 4 years. Now, we can't speculate on the effects of this on those children, but you just have to wonder, what is their current mental state with after going through something like this. It says some children were discovered Tuesday were unable to speak. And I just said that before we got down on this part of the article. I'm like, what kind of mental state would it, I mean, you're living in those type of conditions. I just can't. Okay. Unable to speak, and one an 18-year-old who was developmentally disabled could not even write her name. Man, according to investigators. And we'll say, like I said, innocent to proven guilty. This is all, I don't even know if it's alleged because these are reputable articles on what they found thus far with this family. I'm not going to comment that on that too much, but developmentally disabled, I wonder, was that due to lack of medical care? Was there, you probably know what I'm thinking. Um, we're going to reserve judgment for now. Mm. It goes on to say, somebody commented and said most of our livestock were kept in better conditions than the children. That's a hell of a comment. And this is according to the Benton County Sheriff Ryan Kane. He said it was just a disgusting scene. So these four people, you know, the man already only got charged $250. So I don't know about the laws in that state or in this county. It's probably something that we're going to have to look into as this case goes on. But really, honey, I am thinking that these people should not get out of jail. And I hate to, give that much judgment, but I really am thinking we don't need them. We don't need them to get out of jail. No. You know, it said the children's parents and two grandparents were charged with felony child endangerment, a prosecutor said. Authorities found the children while carrying out a search warrant in an unrelated investigation. So this is what I was wanting to know. I was like, who finally reported? Nobody reported it. It's just that they came across it. What did it say? In an unrelated investigation. So I guess was this investigation due to that public indecency that brought them to the house? I'm gonna say, look at God. The man went out doing all that, and that's probably what led to the rescue of these children. Mm, 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 mm. It says authorities found the children while carrying out a search warrant. Officials said it seemed as if no one outside the family knew about the children who weren't enrolled in school. No one outside the family knew about the children. Are they talking about their immediate family or their family in general? Or did they not have family outside of the mother and father and the grandparents? What about the aunties, uncles, cousins? Did, oh, did nobody know about these kids? That part is hard for me to believe. And it says we didn't know there were going to be 16 kids there, said Wilson, who was nearly at a loss for words in describing what officials found in the tiny village of Hamden that sits in one of Ohio's poorest counties. In Ohio, from what I know about the little bit I know about Ohio, I know Ohio, in terms of poverty, they do have laws that protect the people. But some of the laws made me think, do they enable the people in poverty? Because I know that there's something where, in Ohio, I don't know if that's all of Ohio, but where you can essentially go on to, if you're low income, go on to a program where you accumulate a bill but for your utilities, but you may pay out as low as $10. And I feel like, in my opinion, when you have that type of reliance, I wonder, does it kind of, even though you're trying to help those that are impoverished, does it help to, what am I trying to say? Like, does it lend to poverty, even though it's trying to help eradicate it? Does it really eradicate it, or does it help it to to grow because people rely on it so detrimentally that some may not try for a better life. They have that to rely on. So anyway, it says, we didn't know that there were going to be 16 kids there, said Wilson, who was nearly at a loss for words in describing what officials found in a tiny village of Hamden that sits in one of the poorest counties. It's the type of thing we're not used to seeing here in America. I don't know about that. Now, this is, I don't mean like that. I mean like poverty is in America, but something like this with the kids is neglected and living with feces. That it shouldn't be something that we regularly see in America because we do have a rich country. Oh my God. Then the article goes on to say that the rescued children look like feral animals. The sheriff said it appears that the children spent most of their time in a room that was roughly 12 by 12 feet, 3.5 meters by 3.5 meters. So 12 times 12, was it like 124 feet by 12? Child, I just got to see what that is. 12 by 12 feet is how big? 144 with my non adding self. 144 feet. Let's see. It says a standard bedroom is a very common size for a medium-sized secondary bedroom, kids' room. Many large living rooms are 12 by 12. Let's see. So, okay, it sounds kind of crazy, but what they're saying is that pretty much is a standard bedroom size. So there was kept in one room, basically, that was likened to maybe the size of a small bedroom. But 16 kids in one small bedroom? When we was growing up, even though everybody was all family, it's just, I don't know. This might sound weird to people. I don't know. You tell me how it is in your families. But and when I think of these things, I think about what happened to that girl on that cruise ship, which we might visit that case because we didn't hear anything about it. Who was staying with the stepbrother and she came up unalived. But growing up, the girls and the boys, we didn't sleep in the same rooms. So this is already for me strange or weird. So anyway, it says that the sheriff didn't disclose how the kids were kept inside the home, but said authorities didn't find any cages about. Now we get too sensational. They didn't find no cages, honey. Cages? It said the children ranged in age from what does that say? 1.5 years to 18 years old. Now we're gonna have to talk about this further because I'm gonna have to look into like what is it called, Stockholm syndrome, or what syndromes could have been here because at a certain age you hear about children running away, or so you have 16 kids and some of them as old as 18. We don't want to blame the kids because who knows how long they were living like that. Wait a minute. This other article said that they got married in 2008. What is it? 2008 at 15 years old. So 2008 at 15 and 18 years old. It's 2026 now. I'm sorry. I'm confused. We got to ask again because I'm just curious. 2008. 2008 with at age 15. And I know I misspelled that, but I'm just trying to figure out. Okay, because I'm like, if it's 2008, does I, the math has the math for me. If it's 2008 and the oldest is 18 years old and she got married at 15, when was the child conceived? So I guess it's saying that it was conceived around 2007 or born in 2007. So did they have a child born at 14? I don't know. Y'all help me think this through. Did they have a child born at 14? 14 years old. Wow. So these grandparents, it's even becoming clear that they're even more responsible for more, just like the trail of events to me. You know? Mm-mm-mm. Okay. So up to 18, it says seven were transferred to hospitals in Columbus and two were flown by helicopter. If two were flown by helicopter, they had to be in serious condition. One was in critical condition on Tuesday, while some of the others were admitted for care. Oh my goodness. It says they look like almost feral animals, Wilson said. It was terrible. The children were in temporary custody of the Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services. Benton County Prosecuting Attorney William Archer said the four adults were charged with second degree felony child endangering because it involves serious physical harm. So right now we don't know what serious physical harm means, but we know it has to be serious and one is in critical condition, two had to be flown, and then several went to the hospital. We know the conditions was they're seeing feral, so I don't know, disgusting, something that you don't even want to think about. I don't know how four grown adults could sit there and be lazy and deranged, in my opinion, and watch their kids kind of wither away. And we don't know even know what else. And I suspect other things are going on in the house because of what the father was charged with prior 9 days, and how he had them all in the same room together. It says Gary Siders, Gary Siders Jr., Gary Siders Sr., Christina Siders, and Elizabeth Siders appeared in court Wednesday, where George entered a not guilty pleas on their behalf and set a bond for $300,000 each. They have not yet been assigned lawyers. So $300,000. I don't. I'll be surprised if they make bail. Looks like they'll be in there until the trial starts. Steve Earn, a spokesperson for the Attorney General's office, will not say whether all the children are siblings or how they are related. What? I guess speaking about the children is sensitive. So maybe that's something they're waiting to reveal at a later time or during the trial. But I don't know why the relation is such a secret unless there's something to do with their father. Mm. So okay, because I'm wondering about the people that's around them when they was talking about no family and no outside people. The neighbors, it said the neighbors saw no kids at all. The house was, and that's hard to believe. 16 kids and nobody saw no kids. The house where the children were found sits on a road tucked away alongside a steep railroad embankment where tracks carry rumbling trains through Hamden. The closest neighbors are separated by trees and thick brush, but the house is easily visible from the road. And I know a lot of y'all that like to live in the country, and I don't think anything wrong with that. But I find it very suspect when people want to take a whole family and live off the grid where they cannot be contacted and they're totally separate from civilization. It what do they always say? Anonymity is never good. So I'm not saying for all of you, but it's very suspect to me. An open door revealed bits of trash inside, while a wooden deck in the backyard were filled with discarded tires, a high chair, and other debris. Investigators said members of the family had moved around southern Ohio over the past 2 decades and that it looks like they avoided setting up medical and government records. If they're avoiding setting up medical and government records, that means to me they're hiding something that's going on in the home. Something was already desperately wrong. These folks were pretty good at hiding these kids. 16 kids? Earlier, I want to say I was watching Law and Crime. It's kind of how I got wind of this case. And I was thinking, like, they said that these kids can be detected because this family moved around. And I was thinking of a remedy for that. Like, I am the idea person, as me, but I just need somebody else to execute it. But I feel like when you have where kids are disappearing from a school, there should be a database where if someone ups and says they're moving, they're going to another county, there should be some type of database. I know they have a school database that just tracks enrollment, but there should be some type of database that a school administrator says this family has moved, and that alerts other schools for a registration. And then if there's no registration, I don't know exactly how it could go, but if there's no registration, they should send notifications for a welfare check to authorities. And if multiple schools do that, then it should heighten the need for a check. Because I really do think if there's some great thinkers somewhere around, that that's something that can be done to keep stuff like this from happening in the future. There needs to be a database where people can report, oh, these kids have left our school, where there's some track of them. And if you have multiple schools reporting into a similar database, it should raise a red flag. Anyway, because it's no way. They said these. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that's just. I don't know. It's a way to absolve responsibility, but no, I feel like these kids should have been able to be tracked. Um. Anyway, goes on to say that these folks were pretty good at hiding these kids. Investigators were reviewing whether the family was reported to any children's services agencies in the past. Neighbor Joseph Stewart, 60, said he saw no kids at all since the family down, moved in 3 houses down, and that he could clearly see the house and yard was when passing by. Okay, he goes on to say it's a sad situation. It is, but nobody in the neighborhood noticed nothing. That's when you need one nosy neighbor. Now we don't need, the neighbor that go to people's houses and tell them what to do. But that's when you need one nosy neighbor. Like my was just saying the other day, sitting in the window like the old, y'all probably don't know about the show, but like 227. On Wednesday, the home's doors and windows stood open in a sweltering heat. A tangle of discarded children's items, two busted bicycles, a plastic plate. This is just, it's really painting the scene. I basically was a bunch of debris in the yard. We're gonna skip over that part. It says Hamden has a population of less than 1,000 people, and it's about 60 miles. So to me, when it's a small town, everybody know everybody or know of somebody. So that part is not sitting right with me. It seemed like it would read like, okay, well that's why nobody to know. When it's a small town, there's not that many people to know. It's just not. The discovery of the children is reminiscent of past horrific cases of family abuse. In 2019, David and Louise Turpin pleaded guilty to torture and years of abuse that included shackling some of their 13 children at home in California, starving them, and providing them only with minimal education. What kind of people is these? If you don't want the kids, just take them to DHS. Don't they got to drop off in the fire station? It don't. You only fail if you don't get them the best help that you could get them. Even that means that best help is not coming from you. You know. And it says that they were sentenced to life in prisons without the possibility of parole. To me, the way this case is reading, the Gary Sider sounds like a very depraved individual. I'm trying to understand it if they said that he was the one that was 18 and she was 15 when they got married, but with him doing public indecency, 16 kids locked up, moving out on off the grid with that many children, um, yeah, no, something's not right. Something's not right at all. So let's move on to the People magazine article, see if we can find out more. Not right now, people, not right now. And let's cut this little video off because uh, we don't want to end the video. Child, this don't even look like the same person, honey. Now people when they got the mugs, the before and after, honey. So this is Elizabeth. What happened? Like, what? That's really strange. That don't even look like the same person to me. Does she look like the same person to y'all? Mm-hmm. Okay, Ohio House of Horrors mom is unrecognizable in photos shared by family 6 years before arrest. Elizabeth Siders and her husband each face 16 child neglect charges after authorities allege found their children confined to one room in squalid conditions. I was getting ready to say that saying when they say bad company corrupts good character, but I don't even know if that even applies. This was kids getting married. It seemed like, and I don't because I don't even know if any of it was good character. It sounds like something was very wrong from the beginning, which maybe we'll dive into further as this case goes on. And so much she's smiling blonde. I don't even really care about that. She does look like a totally different person. Her eyes look blank, but mm. And it says this is the most part that Elizabeth is currently seeking a reduced bond to reunite with her children. I don't think we need she to reunite with her children. I'm going to reserve judgment. Maybe we don't know her story just yet. Um, if she was being held hostage or against her will or could not do anything with the children. But if there's any instance of they pull up a video where they was all at she was at Walmart shopping and they separated any time and she had any opportunity to get away from him, I'm not going to consider her a victim. And if she's not a victim, she don't need to reunite with the children. Sorry. Said the mother whose 60 children were allegedly discovered confined to one room and living in squalor looks unrecognizable in an updated photo posted by her mother on Facebook in 2020. Elizabeth Sider is currently being held, and we know about that. Okay, we know about that. We don't need to know about the happy birthday and all that, but she definitely looks unrecognizable. A little bit more weight on her. You think it? Hopefully, it wasn't drugs. Allegedly, because she got a lot more weight on her here. Looks more healthy. I don't know. And here we go, repeating this again. Seeking. I'm not even gonna repeat it again because I'm not for her bond being lowered at this time. We need to know more of the story. Was she a victim or was she not a victim? Officials in Benton County said that they currently cannot afford to care for all the children and their medical needs and have been seeking and receiving money from other state agencies. Elizabeth gave birth to her oldest child when she was 15 Okay, so the math is math because we said she got pregnant at 14. So then I guess they got married at 15. So she's the one that was 15 and he was 18. Mm. Benton County Sheriff Ryan Kane alleged at July 1st news conference after her arrest that the oldest child, 18-year-old girl, could not write or spell her own name. And that's the oldest child. We already heard that quote. Ohio Attorney General Andy Wilson said that even as deputies prepared to raid the household, they did not think there would be 16 children at the location. And she wants to reunite with the children. There's no way. You know what? I was going to say we're going to reserve judgment, but there's no way that this lady need to reunite with the children. You have an 18-year-old child, although she did get married at 15. I am questioning her parents. But you have an 18-year-old child that's been with you 18 years that cannot read, cannot write, cannot speak. Is that by design? Who knows what happened to that child? So for that reason, just that alone, we don't need her to reunite with nobody. Not right now. I need more details of the case. The bond is 300,000. That's a good bond. Records obtained by people show that the deputies had also been investigating Elizabeth husband Gary for multiple alleged we said that incidents of mm, 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 indecency. Let's just say that. The child neglect allegations will now be presented to a grand jury, which will vote on whether to indict the four other adults. They're going to be indicted on something. Even if they didn't participate, how can you be in that house in deplorable conditions and stand by and watch? How can you stand by and watch or see the effects on the children and not seek help? Anyways, child, we will be following this case. So, get up with me. Late night, we have some late night law and reaction. I don't even know what the name of the channel is just yet, but we're going to be reviewing some interesting cases. Anyways, I'll holler. Ooh, child. That's that.